Hey, I'm John, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can highlight actors or select actors by either clicking on them or using some other input, or just by looking at them with your camera. And we're also going to look at doing something fun with them, like using an interaction key to move these actors around. And so stay tuned, and we're going to learn how we can do this in about 20 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to get started here with a new first-person template project. And the first thing I'm going to do is make my interface that I need for the selection messages. So I'll right-click here and make a new blueprint interface. And I'll call this the Select Actors interface. Okay, and I'll open that. And I'm going to make a couple of functions here. First one I'm going to make, we're going to call this select actor, or I'm going to say select my actor, so I know that's my function. And another one here, deselect my actor. And one more here called is selected, question mark. And for the is selected function, we need to add an output here. I'm just going to press plus. I need to select that again and call this is selected question mark. Okay, and the variable type is Boolean, so that's fine. I'm going to compile and close that. And the next thing that I'm going to do here is set up my parent actor, my selectable actor. So I'm going to right-click, make a new blueprint actor, and I'll call this the parent underscore selectable underscore actor. And so for both this interface and this actor, if you're making a game already and you're trying to implement this idea, you would just put these interface functions into an interface you probably already have, and the selectable actor might be a parent class that you've already got. Like maybe it's a unit class in an RTS game, or some other kind of selectable actor in an RPG. So of course for the example here I have to start with something, so I'm making this. And you would just add what I'm doing into your existing class. So what I'm doing here is going to add a decal. And I'm going to call this the selected decal. And I'm not going to worry too much about the size or shape in the parent. I do want to set the material though, so I'll make that here quick. And I'll just right-click, make a new material, call it selected underscore decal mat. And for this one, I'm going to set the material domain here to deferred decal, blend mode to translucent, and I'm going to just hold 3 on my keyboard and click here, and hold 1 and click here, and plug that to the base color. That's the opacity. And the opacity I'm just going to set to half, 0.5. And the base color here I'll set to maybe a bright green color here. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'll close this. And the next thing I want to do here is set this visibility of this decal, selected decal, to false. So I'm going to find that here in the details, and we'll uncheck visible. And now I want to add the select actors interface. So I'm going to go to class settings, and under interfaces here, we'll add the select actors interface. And I'll compile, and now in the event graph I can make some events that respond to those messages from those functions. So I'm going to say event select my actor, and also event deselect my actor. And what we'll do here, very easy, we'll just grab the selected decal component, drag that in, and I'm going to drag from that and say set visibility. And I'll drag from that again and say set visibility. And from selecting, we're going to say visibility is true, and when deselecting, it's false. Okay, so pretty simple stuff here. And so we'll move on here to making a child actor, an example selectable actor. So I'm going to right-click my parent selectable actor and say Create Child Blueprint Class. And I'm going to call this my cube. I'll open that up here, and I'll add a component, add a cube. And I'll just put this up to the ground level here. Maybe set the material to something like this brick clay here. And I can grab the select decal that I inherit from the parent, and I can change the scale of this, or the size, to match my cube a little better here. So I'll do that here. Okay. And that's pretty much it. So now what I can do here is I'll drop this into my scene. And what I want to do is I want to be able to have the player look at an object, and basically whatever's in the center of the screen be the object that they can select or highlight or interact with. So we'll set that up, and the way I'm going to set that up is in the first-person character blueprint. So I'll find that here under the first-person folder, under Blueprints, first-person character. And I'll just move up here and find an empty spot in the event graph. And I'm going to make a line trace event, and maybe I'll start with using the left mouse button. So I'll right-click here, say left mouse button. And we'll drag off pressed here and say line trace for objects. And I need to plug in a start and an end for the line trace. So I'm going to right click here, say get player camera manager. And I can drag from this and say get camera location. And that's the exact spot I want to start the cast. Then I can drag from here, and I can get this convenient function get forward vector. And this will give me the forward-facing direction of the camera. The length will be 1 though. It is a normalized magnitude, so I want to add some length to this along this direction. And I do that by multiplying this vector by whatever length I want to add. I'm going to say, let's say 2,500 centimeters in any axis. And so for the end spot for the line trace here, I want to get the starting location and then plus, and I want to add the length of this forward vector. And that'll be the result we plug into the end. And now we've got our line trace set up to basically trace directly to the center of the screen. So the next thing I'll do is from object types here, I'm going to drag back and say make array. And I'm going to set this to world dynamic. And we'll just take a quick look here so far what we have. So I'll set the debug type here to for duration. And so that'll draw a debug line here for 5 seconds. So let's take a look. Okay, so I'm clicking here, and I can move away, and I can see we're drawing this debug line. And if I hit my cube here, I can see a hit marker, and the line that's penetrated through is turned green. So that tells us we're getting a positive hit on our actor here. So the next thing I want to do is set up the actual interface communication to select this actor. So I'm going to go back to the first person character here, and from the line trace for objects, the first thing I'm going to do is split this hit pin. So we'll get all these other components from the structure. And the first thing I'll do is drag from return value here and make a branch. And we'll check if we hit anything at all. So the return value will be false if we didn't hit anything at all, and true if we did. Okay, so let's say we did. Now what we want to do is see if the hit actor does implement interface. And I can plug in here the select actor interface that I made. And this will now return a true or false, letting us know if we hit something that we have implemented the interface, something that we've parented or a child actor from this parent selectable actor. All right. And so the next thing that we want to do is if we did hit something that implements the interface, we want to send a message to that actor through the interface. And this will actually be a request message. We're going to say is selected. And I'll plug that into the true here. And I'll just route this down here a little bit nicer. Okay. And is selected is going to be either true or false, so we'll get a branch from that. And for now, we'll say if it's not, then send it a message to select my actor. Okay, so far we're seeing if we hit anything at all, then we see is that an actor that implements our interface. And if it is, then we see is it already selected, and if it's not, then we send the message to select it. So far we can select things with this, but there's no regard for deselecting anything. So let's try it out here. And okay, I've selected that. I don't think it's using the correct decal material here. I'll have to check that out. Let's see here. Okay, so in the parent actor here, selected decal, I guess I never set the decal material here to selected decal material. And I noticed one more thing as well. The floor is receiving the decal, and I don't want it to do that. So I'm going to actually select the floor here and search the details for receives, let's see here, receives decals. And I'll just deselect that. And maybe I'll add a couple more of those cubes to the scene here. Put one here, maybe one here, and I'll give it a try again here. Okay, so I've got that part working. Now I'm going to address deselection, because I really only want to select one actor at a time. So I'm going to go back to my first person character here. And in order to deselect an actor, we have to address which actor that is. And so for that, I'm going to have to save what actor it is that we selected. So I'm going to make a new variable here, and I'll call this selected actor. And I'll change the variable type here just to actor. So this can be any old actor of any class. And what we'll do is after we select an actor here, I'm going to drag on selected actor here and get a set node. And we'll set this with the value of the actor that we hit. Okay, so now that we've saved the selected actor on that end, we can access that and deselect it if we have to, and that's what we want to do here. I'm going to drag in the selected actor somewhere about the middle here, drag from that and say deselect my actor. And we want to do this if these false pins fire. So if we don't hit anything at all with this line trace, then deselect. And if we hit an actor, but it's not implementing this interface, the select interface, then we'll also deselect my actor. And so before I do that, though, we're going to make sure that we actually have something here. When we first start, we're not going to have anything in selected actor. This will be equal to none. So I'll just quickly do is valid and put that between here. I'll drag this to here. And we'll only do that if it is valid. Okay. So the next thing we want to do is if we've deselected my actor, then we want to set selected actor and not put anything for the input. So it's just going to select it to none. or set the value to none. Okay, and so one more thing here is from the false here, if the actor that we've selected isn't already selected, rather than just straight selecting it, we first need to deselect any potential previous selection as well. So I'll just do the same thing here and say I could just probably grab these nodes here, these 4 nodes, Control D to duplicate, and we'll just plug this in through here. And so we'll say if the selected actor is valid, then deselect it. And we don't need that here because we're going to go ahead and select a new one. And if it isn't valid, then we'll skip the deselection part and just come through and select it. All right, so that pretty much covers the selection of different actors with our line trace that we generate with the left mouse button. So let's take a look again at what we've got here. All right, so I can select any one of these actors, and if I press the button while looking somewhere else, it just deselects. So that's pretty much the behavior that I want so far. A couple things I'm going to do here. I'm going to just go ahead and remove the debug draw so we don't see that line anymore. Set that to none. And just to make it a little easier to see what we're pointing at, I'm going to make a little widget that acts as a crosshairs. So in Unreal Engine 4, the first person template actually has a crosshair right in the middle of the screen. Unfortunately, we don't have that, so I'm going to quickly add it. I'll just make a new widget blueprint, crosshair, and I'm going to make a canvas panel to start with. And on the canvas panel, I'm going to just put on a border component here. This is just something I can easily set the shape and color of. And to center it here, I'll set the anchors to center. Position X and Y, I'm just going to set to 0 and 0. Size X and Y, I'll do 25 and 25. And then alignment 0.5 and 0.5. And that's going to center that right on this, right in the center of the screen here. Last thing I'll do is change the brush color here, and I'll set it maybe to a pink color, and the opacity I can do quite low here, maybe a 0.2. All right, so I'll close that, and I'm just going to add that here in the first person character blueprint. We'll say event begin play. And I'll drag from that, create widget, crosshair, and from the return value, add to viewport. All right, perfect. So we'll take a look here. Now I've got this indicator of the center of the screen, and we can select and deselect actors. And so that's pretty much the gist of selecting actors. And so I'm just going to take this quickly one step further and see if we can do something fun with our selected actor here. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is, instead of doing this on the left mouse button, I'm going to make this a more real-time effect. So I'll delete this left mouse button, and from the begin play here, what I'm going to do is say set timer by event, and I'll set this to a time of 0.1 and looping. So this is going to happen 10 times per second, this event. So I'll add an event here, and we'll call this site check site line, and I'll plug that in here. So now, instead of having to click the button, this is going to happen automatically 10 times per second. So let's take a look at that. Okay, and so we've got automatic selection as I look at stuff. I don't have to click on anything. The next thing I'll do here is we'll say, let's make a key press event maybe let's say the E key. Let's go to keyboard events here and E key. Okay, and what I'll do here is I'll say if we press E, we'll check if the selected actor is valid, so see if there is one. And if it is valid, let's say we take the selected actor and we'll attach actor to component. And we'll attach that actor to, let's say our camera, first-person camera. Drag that. We'll attach that to the parent here. And I'll say keep world, and keep world. And okay, now let's say when we release the key, we're going to detach it. So I'm going to say selected actor. Detach from actor. And I'll plug in the released here and say keep world again. Okay, so now let's check out how that works. Okay, so I'm going to hover over a block here and I'll press E. I'll hold E down actually. And all right, I've got this attached, and if I release E, I've let it go. So I could say, you know, grab these and rearrange them to some other place like that. Or, oh, you know, maybe I want to change my mind and move it over here, or maybe over here. So that's pretty fun. And also, since this is set up in this parent actor here, it's extremely easy to make another highlightable or selectable actor, right? So all I have to do is right-click here, create a child blueprint class. I'll call this my sphere. And I'll add a sphere. I'll just drag this up to the ground level, set a material here, maybe this tile checker. And the selected decal here, I could resize it here to the more appropriate size. And away we go. I can drag this into my scene. Let's say I put a couple over here. And now I can pick these up just the same and plop these around wherever I want them. All right. So that's basically it. That's the end of this tutorial, and I hope it was useful for you. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.